#Trending would like to thank Meter for their support in bringing you this podcast. Meter delivers a complete networking stack, wired, wireless, and cellular, in one integrated solution that's built for performance and scale. You can find them at meter.com/HTT. OpenAI declares code red with rumors of a new model next week. Australia plans a nationwide social media ban for under 16s. Apple's AI chief steps down as Google pushes ahead with Gemini. And can open source survive? It's certainly showing its age. Welcome to #Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. OpenAI is reportedly in a code red mode and speeding up the release of its next model, codenamed Garlic. The model was originally planned for early January, but may now arrive as soon as next week, possibly as GPT 5.2 or GPT 5.5. It's an unusually fast shift for OpenAI, and the timing suggests pressure from Google's latest Gemini upgrades. Part of the urgency goes back to GPT-5. When OpenAI released it in August, the reaction was, let's say, muted. According to the Wall Street Journal, users felt the model was too clinical, weaker in math and geography compared to earlier versions. Some felt it was a little stilted. OpenAI rapidly pushed an update to fix those gaps, but the criticism clearly landed, and it adds context to something Sam Altman said back in August. In an interview picked up by The Verge and Fortune, he admitted the company already had better models they couldn't release because they didn't have the capacity to run them. That line takes on a new meaning now that OpenAI appears to be accelerating Garlic. Meanwhile, this all comes just after ChatGPT's third anniversary on November 30th, a reminder of how quickly expectations have shifted since that first public release. But at the same time, Google has been rolling out steady improvements to the Gemini ecosystem and functions. Android Police and Android Central have been reporting a major overhaul to the Gemini app interface, along with early versions of a projects workspace that lets users upload multiple files and keep their work organized. Sound a lot like OpenAI to you? And there are also signs of a native iOS and Mac OS Gemini app on the horizon. It's a shift towards treating AI as a full productivity environment, not just a chatbot. Now, the bigger story here, though, is the pace. Model releases take months and months, but both companies are pushing updates in weeks. And with businesses relying on these systems for daily work, whoever controls the pace may end up controlling the market. Australia is about to run one of the biggest social experiments we've seen in the digital age. Starting December 10th, Australia will reportedly ban anyone from under 16 from having a social media account. And that includes everything from TikTok to Instagram to Snapchat, YouTube, Reddit, and even X. It's a sweeping move, and it's far stronger than what we've seen in places like the UK, where the focus is on moderating harmful content rather than blocking access entirely. Part of the reason is frustration on how platforms have handled safety on their own. There's a recent example that involves Roblox, which permanently banned a creator who was tracking down alleged child predators on the service. This creator who says he himself was exploited on the platform as a child. And critics argue the company moved faster to shut down the whistleblower than to confront the abuse he was documenting. Cases like this have fed the argument that moderation alone isn't enough and that platforms can't be trusted to deliver on the protections they're promising. Teens are already preparing. Many are backing up photos, and some platforms are letting young users who are close to 16 suspend their accounts so they don't lose everything. Others are looking at alternatives, including apps like Lemon 8, which has been mentioned in the Australian media as having looser standards, but the Australian government says it will actively track anyone trying to circumvent the ban, a statement that's raised privacy concerns of its own. The policy is controversial. It's certain to be challenged in court, Experts have warned about unintended consequences. Cutting off an entire generation from mainstream platforms may push them towards unregulated corners of the internet. Or, and it's possible, it might put them back into the real world to meet friends, maybe read a book. You can decide for yourself whether this is a problem or a feature, and we'll see it play out in real time. But it's clear this is a bold experiment, and the rest of the world is going to be watching closely. Apple's head of AI is stepping down at a difficult moment. John Giannandrea, the senior vice president in charge of machine learning and AI strategy, is retiring in the spring of 2026 after 7 years with the company. Apple says he'll stay on as an advisor, but responsibility for its next wave of AI features is shifting immediately to Amar Subramanya, a former Microsoft and Google executive who helped build parts of the Gemini assistant. Subramanya will report to Craig Federighi, Apple's software chief. That's notable. Federighi oversees the teams that actually ship features across iOS, macOS, and Apple's developer tools. And he got a long track record of delivering major platform transitions on schedule. It's a sharp contrast with Giannandrea's more research-oriented approach. Moving Apple's AI work under Federighi signals the company wants visible progress and on-device execution, not just long-horizon model development. The timing also adds to the pressure. Apple has already delayed the most ambitious part of its Apple Intelligence rollout, a more personal and context-aware Siri, until 2026. Reports from Mac Rumors and others say internal tests fell short of Apple's launch targets, and there are ongoing rumors that the company may even lean on Google's Gemini models to fill some of the gaps. That's a tough position for a company known for controlling its entire stack. And there's a bigger competitive question here. For years, Apple was the phone that had design and polish, but it wasn't just the physical phone. It was the feeling that its devices simply worked. But with Google pushing Gemini straight into Android phones and improving it week by week, Apple can't afford to let rivals own the intelligence layer of the smartphone, especially the smartphone that wants to be the leading smartphone in the world. And just as Sam Altman put OpenAI on code red to keep pace with Google, this leadership shakeup may be a sign that Apple is reaching that moment as well. And finally, Kubernetes is retiring one of its most widely used components, the Ingres Nginx controller. As the Register put it, Ingres Nginx will go to that big bit farm in the sky in March 2026. After that date, there will be no releases, no bug fixes, no updates, no security vulnerabilities that might be found. And if you've never heard of this, you're going, who cares? That's normal. But the retirement of this is a sign of something bigger. Open source started as a cool idea, but today it's the underpinning of almost everything we do and use. We all know that most of the internet runs on Linux, open source. Countless cloud services, developer tools, security frameworks, all depend on small, often invisible projects just like this one. So when one project winds down or dies from neglect, it might not seem like much, but it points to a deeper issue. Many maintainers are aging out, and the pipeline of new contributors isn't keeping up. And the work isn't glamorous. Even with some corporate sponsorship, most maintainers do this on nights and weekends. They're expected to write code, respond to issues, keep up with security, and navigate the internal politics of open source communities. Look at the attempted Rust migration inside the Linux project. A promising idea, a new, very secure software, a great approach, but it nearly stalled if it hasn't after maintainers burned out facing constant abuse online. Even the Ingres Nginx developers said they were worn down by the volume of complaints despite doing the work for free. And all of this is happening as open source security threats get worse. Attackers are targeting package repositories like NPM and PyPI because one compromised library can ripple into thousands of products. When projects lose contributors, they also lose the people who catch those vulnerabilities. So the question isn't whether one module disappeared. It's whether open source can keep functioning when its stewards are exhausted, its newcomers are scarce, and its security risks keep rising. We might be reaching a moment where the model itself has to change. And that's our show. I'd love to hear what you think. Contact me at technewsday.ca or .com. Take your pick. You can use the Contact Us form, or if you're watching on YouTube, leave a note under the video. Some of you track me down on LinkedIn, and that's just wonderful. Once again, we'd like to thank Meter for their support in bringing you this podcast. Meter delivers a full-stack networking infrastructure, wired, wireless, and cellular to leading enterprises. And working with their partners, Meter designs, deploys, and manages everything required to get performant, reliable, and secure connectivity in a space. They design the hardware, the firmware, build the software, manage deployments, and run support. It's a single integrated solution that scales from branch offices, warehouses, large campuses, all the way to data centers. You can book a demo at meter.com/HTT. That's meter.com/HTT. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a wonderful Wednesday.